The Mosh swimsuits are nice and all, but it's about time that the real face of Chaldea gets to make her summer debut. Hello everyone, Soberoni of G&A Reviews here, with a spotlight for this year's token summer loli, Da Vinci. We'll be examining her stats and skills, as well as going over pointers on how to utilize her effectively, and an overall grade comparing her to how she stacks up to the other 4-star servants. So if you're ready to find a little hidden treasure, then make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and ring my bell, so you can catch all of these spotlight videos as they go up, and you can help out the channel. And now, onto Da Vinci stats. Da Vinci has a max HP of 11,756 and a max attack of 9,157, which becomes 10,072 due to her ruler class modifier. She's tied for the highest HP among all 4-star ruler servants, but has the second lowest attack. Her HP is decent when compared to the other SR servants overall, but her attack is a little bit below the average. When it comes to her command cards, Da Vinci has 3 hits across the board on each of her cards. She has an NP gain rate of 0.67% and a star rate of 10%. Her NP gain is solid due to those high hit counts on her arts cards, however she does lack star generating due to only having 1 quick. As expected of a ruler, Da Vinci has solid defensive stats which are bolstered even further by her class, but she is lacking in offense, which is typical of a support oriented servant. Taking a look at her skills, Da Vinci's first skill is Dream Machine rank A. This skill increases an ally's arts, quick, and buster card effectiveness between 10 and 20% for 3 turns, all of these effects depending on level. Her second skill is Treasure Checker rank B, which increases an ally's NP gauge between 10 and 20% and their NP gain rate between 20 and 30% for 3 turns, both effects depending on level. And finally, her last skill is Shine at Twilight rank EX. This skill increases the party's NP damage for 3 turns between 10 and 20%. It also increases the party's NP overcharge by 1 stage, and it reduces all enemies' critical attack chance for 3 turns, also between 10 and 20%, both of these effects depending on level. For her passives, Da Vinci has Riding rank EX, which increases her quick card effectiveness by 12%, Item Construction rank A, which increases her own debuff success rate by 10%, and Magic Resistance rank B, which increases her debuff resistance by 17.5%. Moving on to her deck and Noble Phantasm, Da Vinci has a Buster Arts deck with Quick, Arts, Buster, Buster, and a Buster Noble Phantasm. Her Noble Phantasm is Dinosaur Summer Goodbye. It's a single target Buster attack that deals damage to 1 enemy, with a modifier between 600 and 1000% depending on NP level. It also grants 1 random buff out of 3. It either generates 30 crit stars, charges the party's NP gauge by 20%, or increases the party's attack by 20% for 3 turns. In addition, it also increases Da Vinci's NP damage for 1 turn between 20 and 40% depending on overcharge. Because she's a welfare servant, Da Vinci's level ascension mats are very easy to obtain. She just needs 4 copies of the Genius Egg, which we'll get for this year's summer event. But on top of that, her skill leveling requirements are also easier to fulfill due to her being a ruler. So she'll mostly just require skill gems from each class, as well as 10 seashells and 12 eggs per skill. Finally, after 6 long years, Da Vinci gets to join us for a summer vacation. And she definitely doesn't disappoint. As a ruler, Summer Da Vinci benefits from some pretty strong stats. She has good HP, which is effectively doubled thanks to her class resistances, decent enough attack, which also benefits from a generous 10% damage modifier, and solid NP gain. So Da Vinci's stats are good all around, especially for support. And supporting is what Summer Vinci does best. Her first skill, Dream Machine, is a targetable super steroid that gives an ally 20% additional effectiveness on all of their cards for 3 turns. The fact that this is an Omni card buff makes this skill incredibly versatile. It allows Da Vinci to provide a consistent buff to any servant, and it helps with more than just damage. That servant will also gain more star generating and NP charge on their quick and arts cards as well, which can make it a particularly good buff for NP loopers. Speaking of which, Da Vinci has a straight up NP battery on her second skill, Treasure Checker. It charges an ally's NP bar by 20%, and it grants them 30% NP gain for 3 turns. Naturally, this works great in conjunction with Dream Machine for art servants, since it gives them a tremendous boost to their NP gain potential. But even outside of pure arts looping, this is a strong skill for any servant. 20% charge is good for setting up servants who would struggle to NP otherwise, not to mention that short 5-turn cooldown on both this skill and Dream Machine makes them both very abusable in longer fights where Da Vinci can act as a constant NP battery. And finally, to really hammer home that point, Da Vinci has Shine at Twilight, a party-wide 20% NP damage buff that also increases overcharge and lowers enemy crit chance. The crit down isn't really that important, but the NP up is. It lasts for 3 turns just like Da Vinci's other skills, so they all have very good synergy with each other, and they can be activated in unison consistently. Between this and Dream Machine, Da Vinci can provide an ally with a powerful damage steroid to their NP for 3 turns that's nearly as strong as a mana burst. This can be useful for both farming setups where you want to clear the stage within 3 turns, and in challenge quest teams for burning through break bars quickly on a servant that gets a lot of NP refund like Kagetora. Being able to increase overcharge is also a nice little additional effect that shouldn't be overlooked. Many supports have great overcharge effects. For example, this can equate to getting a whole extra hit of invincibility from Castoria. As you can probably tell, all of Da Vinci's kit revolves around enabling an ally to NP faster and more often, which is why you should level Treasure Checker first for the better NP charge, followed by Dream Machine because it has more utility, and then Shine at Twilight last. For her pen skills, Da Vinci only really needs mana loading, since you may want to use her NP for support. And on that note, Summer Da Vinci's NP is a single target buster attack that has the really unique effect of randomly granting 1 of 3 buffs to the party, and it also increases her own NP damage depending on overcharge. The buff that Da Vinci gives is completely random, so normally I would say that this isn't a very strong NP, but in reality all 3 buffs are so strong that it almost doesn't even matter. Summer Da Vinci is either going to give the party charisma, a huge star bomb that basically guarantees everyone crits the next turn, or a full-on 20% NP charge to the party. No matter what bonus you get, it's just a really good advantage, and it's universally applicable on any team comp. And that's Da Vinci's selling point. She is a universal support for all card types. You may notice a lot of overlap between her abilities and Helena's, and they perform very similar roles, so in a lot of ways you can basically think of Summer Da Vinci as a free Helena. But in Da Vinci's case, she's even more of a dedicated pure support than Helena. She provides a better NP battery by not only being able to charge her DPS by 20%, but also giving them a sizable buff to their NP gain. And her Omni card buff combined with her NP damage up gives your DPS a very good damage steroid, which can help a lot with DPS servants who want to maintain high levels of consistent damage due to her short cooldowns. Her Noble Phantasm is just icing on the cake that really pushes her support capabilities over the edge, by giving your entire party free extra damage or NP charge. And because Summer Da Vinci's buffs work so well across the board, she has tremendous versatility. You can effectively slide her into any team to support any servant, and she'll do a pretty good job at it. Now this does mean that she won't be quite as useful for some specific team comps as more specialized supports like Caster Gil or Lan Ling, but on the whole, Da Vinci works very well as a secondary support even on those teams. So she has really strong utility as a support, but what about as a DPS? Now technically Da Vinci can be a DPS, she can use her buffs on herself, and she even has extra NP damage for herself built into her Noble Phantasm. That combined with being a free NP5 servant means that she can actually dish out some good damage. In fact, only Luvia has a better single target DPS among rulers, so Da Vinci may be the best single target ruler that most players have access to. That being said though, there isn't much of a need for single target rulers, and the gulf between Luvia and Da Vinci is massive. So you're mostly better off just using Da Vinci purely as a support for her NP battery, and only concerning yourself with her damage in extreme situations. The only real drawback for Da Vinci is that since she's such a good general support, she really won't be useful to players who already have strong supports like Castoria or Vich. Her NP battery is good, but nowhere near good enough to justify a slot on the team over an elite servant like Waver or Rainus. So if you're a veteran of FGO, you may struggle to find use for her. She also lacks any utility outside of damage and NP charge, so she can be lackluster compared to other supports when it comes to things like healing, debuffing, or utility. That being said though, if you are a newer player, then Da Vinci has tons of useful applications and can be used on a wide variety of teams. It's almost impossible to narrow down the types of servants that Da Vinci works well with, since she can be used by nearly anyone, but I do recommend pairing her with other supports who can bolster NP gain for better looping like Paracelsus and Castoria if you want to build some kind of arts farming team. But she also works well when supporting very high damage single target servants who rely on their NP like Kagetora and Tyra. Da Vinci's Bond CE is Summer Adventure Memory. It increases the party's arts, quick, and buster card effectiveness by 8% while she's on the field. I like this CE a lot for Da Vinci since it complements her Omni card buff well, and it effectively turns it into a near 30% buff. It's worth using if you have it, otherwise the typical support CEs like 2030, Annual Meeting, and Golden Carp work well. Basically any CE that generates crit stars. In the future, Commentator of Flowers is worth picking up as well, since it also generates crit stars every turn, and increases NP gain and damage, so Da Vinci can activate her Noble Phantasm quicker. Similarly with command codes, you want to give Da Vinci something that generates crit stars to help add utility to her skill set, so something like Priestess of the Silver Key works really well for her. Overall, Summer Da Vinci is an excellent Omni support for newer players. Her buffs are universal and they work well on any card type, which makes her perfect for sliding into any team and supporting any DPS. Her strong NP battery skills make her a very effective addition to farming teams, especially arch looping teams, and when the time comes she can even serve as a decent DPS in her own right. She does however lack that specialization that most supports have, which makes her too general purpose for some team comps. She doesn't offer any utility outside of damage buffing and NP charge, and she does pale in comparison to the top tier supports in the type of buffing that she can offer. So all in all, Da Vinci Ruler gets a B+ from me. I think she's a very strong pickup if you're a new player, and it seems like she was tailor-made to help out people who may have missed out on Castoria or Vich or Oberon. So if that's you, then you'll find a ton of usefulness in Da Vinci, and you can probably just use her on every team. However, for more veteran players who already have a good support lineup, there's very little reason to use Summer Da Vinci. And those are my thoughts on Da Vinci. I don't mind that she is more useful for newer players, since that is supposed to be the point of welfare servants, so I think she makes a great addition to the free servant lineup. Well, what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, and consider subscribing if you really enjoyed the video. Join the party over at our Discord, chill with us on Twitch, and follow us on Twitter, and I'll see you all in the next Servant Spotlight. Soberoni out. Later.